Question of the Week from the Naked Scientists.
Hello and welcome to Question of the Week from the Naked Scientists with me, Diana O'Carroll. This week I did actually sprain my ankle, and if my foot had been any more purple, there would have been a trip to the X-ray department.
Hello, my name's Steve from Little Walden, and my question is, how much radiation are you exposed to during a medical X-ray? How does that compare to the dosage levels radiation workers are allowed to receive?
So how much zapping do these medical scans do?
Hi, I'm Phil Clark from the Particle Physics Group in Edinburgh University. And first of all, when you're discussing radiation doses, it often gets quite complex due to the different ways to measure radiation. And there's often an abundance of different units, like REMS, Grays, Sieverts, Röntgens, Becquerels, Curies, and so on. So that can confuse things somewhat. So the important unit of measurement is what's known as a Gray, and that's a unit of absorbed dose. And it corresponds to 1 joule of energy absorbed by a kilogram of material. Now, different types of radiation, like alpha, beta, and gamma decays, result in different biological effects. So what you do is you have to take the Gray number and multiply it by what's often called a Q factor. And an example would be for X-rays and electrons. The Q value would be 1. So if you multiply those two together, you get what's known as a dose equivalent. And the scientific measurement for that is a sievert. And 1 sievert is actually quite a large value, so you typically measure it in millisieverts, so thousands of sieverts. Now, a typical sort of standard chest X-ray produces about 0.1 millisievert, and the doses that are recommended for people working at CERN, or the maximum dose, is about 6 millisieverts. And if you're a radiation worker, it got to 20. Or if you're an airline staff member, the usual amount's about 5 millisieverts. So the amount of radiation you get from an X-ray is actually quite small.
That's the physics of X-ray doses, but what about the different types of X-ray scans?
My name's Stuart Yates and I'm a radiation protection advisor working at Addenbrooke's Hospital. Well, you get a very wide range of different X-rays giving different amounts of radiation dose, but taking a typical example chest X-ray is very common that lots of people might be referred to by their GP or hospital doctor. And a typical chest X-ray gives you about the same amount of radiation dose as you'd get in 3 or 4 days from natural sources of radiation in the environment, and also natural radioactivity in food that we eat. For example, Brazil nuts contain radium, and so they're slightly radioactive. And so typically a chest X-ray is about the same as eating 3 or 4 bags of Brazil nuts in terms of radiation dose. CT scans do give you more radiation dose, so you're equivalent perhaps to a few years of natural radiation, but then the benefit is also that much greater because the doctors will get that much more information. And so one of the key things in all X-rays is that you will only get that X-ray if the benefit outweighs the risk. Because radiation comes naturally from cosmic rays from outer space, we're actually quite well protected at ground level from that radiation because of absorption in the atmosphere. But when we fly, we're less protected because we're higher up in the atmosphere. And so typically you'd get the same amount of radiation dose from a chest X-ray as you would from, say, a return flight to southern Europe.
So a simple chest X-ray will give you 0.1 millisieverts. That's a 60th of the dose limit for someone at CERN. However, a CT scan can give you up to 20 millisieverts of radiation, which is 4 years' worth of background radiation. That's unless you live in some parts of Cornwall, where it's 2 years' worth, because the rocks there emit lots of lovely radioactive radon. And from radioactive sources, next week we'll be talking about some mutant fruit.
Hi, my name is Gary Staub, and my question is, how do farmers plant seedless fruit crops? Thanks so much.
How do seedless fruit make baby seedless fruit? Help us to answer this question of the week by emailing chris@thenakedscientist.com or by writing on the forum with thenakedscientist.com/forum.
Question of the Week is part of the Naked Scientists podcast and supported by the EPSRC, the Wellcome Trust and UK Fast. Look us up online at nakedscientists.com.